All right, welcome back, chemistry students. We are continuing with our activity, endothermic, exothermic. What's that? So number 8 in your packet is asking us to summarize the following. Distinguish between an exothermic and an endothermic reaction. Well, to do this, I would say something like in an exothermic reaction, the energy of the products is less than the energy of the reactants because more energy was released during product formation than was added to break the bonds of the reactants. And then in an endothermic reaction, the products have more energy than the reactants because more energy was added to break bonds in the reactants than was released during product bond formation. So that's how I would say that in words. Okay, and then moving on, we need to draw a graph that depicts an endothermic reaction and also an exothermic reaction. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw my two axes. I'll put exo on the left, I'll put endo on the right. I'm going to put energy on the y-axis, and I'm just abbreviating here with an E, and then progress of the reaction is on the x-axis. And for my exothermic reaction, I'll use red. And so here are my reactants. Here's the energy that goes in to break those bonds. Here's the energy that comes out during product bond formation. And then here are my products. In the endothermic reaction, I have my reactants. Here's the energy that's going in to break the bonds of the reactants. Here's the energy coming out to form the bonds of the products. And there are my products. Okay, next, it says, write the appropriate relationship, use the lesser greater signs for energy and the breaking or the formation of chemical bonds. So in an endothermic reaction, my energy in is greater than energy out. As you can see on my graph, my energy in line for endothermic is longer than my energy out line. For exothermic, it's the opposite. I have energy in is less than energy out. And on the graph that I just drew, here's my energy in, and it is a shorter line than energy out. Okay, moving on. So I've given you an equation below. Kilojoules is a measurement for energy, and we need to answer the questions that follow each equation. So here is my equation, and this is the energy that's being added to these reactants in order to break the bonds. And this is the energy that's being released in order to form the bonds of the product. So I have 20 kilojoules going in, and I have 10 kilojoules going out. So draw the energy curve. I've already started it for you down here, so I'm going to use black just so that it's all in. So I'm at about 30 kilojoules here on my axis, and I need to go up 20. So that means my curve, or the top of my bump, is going to go up to about 50. And then I'm going to get 10 kilojoules out. So from 50 kilojoules minus 10 is 40. So I'm going to stop my curve at the 40. And then here I have my products. And my products would be AD plus CB. Okay, so D2 says, is there more energy added to the reactants, or is there more energy being released by the products? Well, 20 is more than 10, so I have more energy is added to reactants. And then how did you arrive at your answer to question 2? Well, 20 is, first of all, greater than 10, and the line that shows energy in is longer than the line that shows energy out. So is this an endothermic or an exothermic reaction? Well, this is an endothermic reaction. And it's endothermic because my products end up to be of more energy, higher energy than my reactants. All right, here's another equation. So once again, we're going to draw an energy curve, and on this one, I have, 40 kilojoules being added, and I have 60 kilojoules being produced. So again, I'm starting my reactants at 30 kilojoules. So what's 30 plus 40? Well, that's 70, so it's going to go all the way up to the top. And then what is 70 minus 60? Well, 70 minus 60 is 10. So I'm going to bring my line all the way down to 10 kilojoules. I'm going to extend it out, and then I'm going to write down my products, which are AD plus CB. So let's answer my questions now. Is there more energy being added to the reactants or more energy being released by the products? Well, we have more energy released by the products. And how did we arrive at our answer? Well, 60 kilojoules is greater than, oh gosh, what do we even start with? 40 is greater than 40 kilojoules, first of all, from the equation. And the line that shows energy in to break bonds is shorter than the line showing energy out to form bonds. Sorry, I can't. I don't know why I feel nervous about typing right now, but I do. Okay, next, is this an endothermic or an exothermic reaction? This is exothermic. Again, because our energy out, so our line over here, our energy out is longer than the energy that's going in. Okay, here we go. Last page. So what do these curves have in common? Well, as I look at these two curves, I can see that both of them require an input of energy. And that energy is being used to break the bonds of the reactants. and both are releasing some energy. Both of them also depict the amount of energy that are in the reactants and the products. So both compare the amount of energy between reactants and the products. Okay. So letter A is asking us, what is the amount of energy required for a chemical reaction to run to completion? There's actually a term that is used to describe the amount of energy that needs to be added to a reaction in order for the reaction to run to completion. And this term is called activation energy. And it says, draw a red line that indicates the location of the activation energy on each curve above. Well, the activation energy is going, the line is going to start at, whoops, I need red. I'll just erase these green lines here. There we go. Okay, so the line for activation energy is actually going to start wherever the energy of the reactants is, and it goes up to the very top of the curve. So from the level of the reactants up to the top of the curve, this is activation energy, and NRG is just standing for energy, like if you sounded it out, all the letters, energy. So this is activation energy. Okay. And letter C, and our final question is just asking, what happens if activation energy is not reached for a reaction? Well, that just means that products don't form. It's as simple as that. If you don't have enough energy to run a reaction, that means that you don't have enough energy to get the molecules in the motion. You don't have enough energy to cause molecules to collide with each other with enough force, and therefore you don't have the energy required to even start making the products. So if activation energy is not met, then you don't get your products. Okay, and that's all I've got for endothermic. Exothermic, what's that? Thank you so much for watching my videos and my lab and my chemistry kitchen, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed your lesson. Bye.